I would divide quiet quitters into two main groups. Group 1 are people who are simply withdrawn, who do not care at all about work and kind of lost hope about the future, do not seek any kind of advancement and just want to lay back, and people who are simply not interested in progress, in learning more, in becoming a better person, in advancing. But then there is Group 2, people who do want to progress in their career. They want to contribute something meaningful, something useful to the company, but they just feel the company is simply not providing them with the infrastructure or a system that allows them to do that. And that is why they've become so frustrated and so disillusioned with work that they chose to withdraw and just not try anymore. They no longer feel appreciated. They feel a bit exploited. But these people in Group 2, because it's in their nature that they want to grow and learn, they just do not feel comfortable staying put, staying in that status quo of quiet quitting for too long. If you're in Group 2, a phase is all that it is, after which you transition into something better. Now, have I personally ever been a quiet quitter? I guess sort of, although I don't really want to admit it. But if I really think about it, I might have been a quiet quitter for a few months. So this is what happened. As many of you guys know, I started my first career in banking as a project manager. At first it was really exciting, but after a while I noticed that it's really not for me, and the workload, the amount of work was just crazy. And although I did feel some appreciation, I didn't feel adequately rewarded, and every time that I asked for a substantial raise, it was like talking to a wall because nothing would ever happen. Led me to feeling extremely underappreciated and experiencing burnout. And then I started planning my escape, and that whole planning process lasted for about, I would say, 1 year plus. And to be fair, I must say that during the last, let's say, 3 to 4 months, I was sort of quiet quitting. I was no longer giving it my all. When previously I was working until 9 and 10, sometimes on the weekends even, and I would be super proactive and always push at all of my projects to make sure that we'd get to the next stage of it. During these last 3 to 4 months, I just no longer cared that much because I knew that, okay, after this, I would be starting a new chapter of my life. And it was extremely difficult for me at that time because I had this really high sense of responsibility. I felt that as long as I was still being paid, I had to give it my all. But to be honest, I did not give it my all anymore. I just made sure that everything kept running and I did my tasks, but I didn't do much more than that. Am I proud of it? No, but that was just the reality at that time. Also, if I emailed someone or called someone and would not get a response, back then I would usually follow up again until I got an answer. But during those last few months, I just didn't care anymore. If the person didn't respond, I just left it at that. Once I realized that I was sliding into that state of quiet quitting, I knew that I had to get out of there as soon as possible. It was even a motivational factor for me because I looked at myself, I looked at my work ethic and my motivation at work, and everything was going down the drain. So I knew that I didn't want to stay and linger in this kind of really uncomfortable and unproductive situation any longer, and that helped me to speed up my escape from my job even faster. And in case you are quiet quitting right now, this is what I would suggest to do. Wanting to be a quiet quitter is really human. It's perfectly normal. It's a reaction to either burnout, not being appropriately rewarded, feeling underappreciated, or all of the above. But well, the question is what to do next, right? Doing your bare minimum at work, just according to your contract, just fulfilling your basic tasks, is not against the law. But that's not the question here. The real question here is quiet quitting useful to you, or would you just be wasting your time if you're doing it? And I'd say that you're definitely wasting your time if you're lingering in quiet quitting mode for too long. If you experience quiet quitting and you stay there, let's say for 2-3 months while you're figuring out your next steps, then I think that is fine. And I don't think you're wasting your time because you are just using this this transition phase to gear up for your next stage, your next chapter. But if you just stay in quiet quitting mode and you no longer learn, you no longer grow, then honestly, you're just wasting your time. And I'd go as far as to say that you're even ruining your life, because you might be missing out on a ton of great opportunities. When you're quiet quitting, you're unconsciously developing this attitude of withdrawal, apathy, and not caring. And if you do that for too long, the risk is that that kind of attitude can actually spill over to other areas of your life. So how to use quiet quitting to your advantage and turn it into a successful career change? Overall, I'd say you have two options. Option one is that you continue to stay in your company anyway, but instead of continuing to quietly quit, try and change the things that you dislike about your job. For example, try and work in a different department or negotiate your workload with your employer. Anything that gets you in the mood for working again and getting out of that quiet quitting attitude. Or option number two, and as you can guess, I'm a much bigger fan of that, use this quiet quitting experience to explore new opportunities. If you really feel the need to quiet quit, then so be it, but do it for a very short amount of time, just several months, and during those several months, figure out what you want to do next. And once those 3 months are over, then leave your company and start living your life.